You guys aren't making fun of my chickens, are you?
I didn't say.
Just saying. How is everybody? Nope. How is everybody? Okay. All right, thanks. I don't know about you, but I have a lot of things that people call me. Now, keep your thoughts to yourself, but a lot of titles. One is, I'm an entrepreneur. So as they mentioned, I started Joy's House, a not-for-profit adult day service 16 years ago here in Indianapolis. That's what we look like in Broad Ripple. We now have a second location too. And then these are some of the families that I get the honor of caring for. And so the adults that come to be with us are adults who have some kind of a life-altering diagnosis. And they come to be with us during the day so they can continue living at home with their loved ones as long as possible. We also take care of their caregivers. And so in the last 16 years, there have been thousands of people that I've been very honored and blessed to be a part of, altering their lives for the better. I'm a sorority woman. Any Delta Zetas in here? I'm a wife. My husband would kill me for using this photo. I'm a friend. I'm a boss. Now, Ginny Carroll, you'll notice you're in this picture. I'm actually not Ginny's boss. I just really like Ginny Carroll, so I put her in the picture. And I'm a mom. Those are my three little nutball kids. And if you have ever been around a mom for longer than 2 minutes, and I'm assuming you have, then you know we can't help ourselves. We give advice even when you don't want it. Anybody in this room been guilty? A mom in your life starts to say a sentence like, "Oh, now, honey, I know exactly what I did in that situation," and you roll your eyes and kind of walk away. Anybody ever done that to a mother? Yeah. Well, the reality is, moms are really smart. I mean, we know stuff. We have experiences, and we like to share it with anybody who's willing to listen. And the great thing for me is that you're stuck in this room. You can roll your eyes. I can't really see them. And you can't get up and walk away because that'd be kind of weird. And so you're stuck with me for the next 8 minutes, and I get to mom you. So I want to give you my advice both as a mom and as a leader. So my session, my talk, is called Listen Up, Sometimes Parents Do Know Best, or as I like to call it, Because I Said So. First piece of advice, always come with a resolution. You ever have that person in your life who comes to you with a problem? How about the person that continues to come with a problem? How do you feel? Give me some words. How do you feel when that person continually comes to you? Exhausted. Another one. Frustrated. Annoyed. I get really annoyed. What I want you to do, oops, I don't want you to do that yet. What I want you to do, what I want to challenge you to do is I want you to be the person who comes with a resolution to a problem. And I want you to encourage the people in your organizations to do the same thing. I want to be real honest with you. They're not going to be the best resolutions all the time, right? You're going to have to change them. You're going to have to completely delete them from your memory. But the great thing is, you empowered someone to try. And you know what might happen? They might be better than your ideas. Now, I also want you to use your resources. What I mean by this is going to hurt a little. You don't know everything. That hurt anybody just a little bit? I can see it on your faces. Somebody just rolled their eyes. Here's the reality. You don't know everything. People around you can help you to fill in the gaps. And so the best thing you can do is use those resources. Find people who know things a little bit better than you do, that look at things differently, that have a different skill set. And I want you to use them because together you can do some pretty great things. I want you to keep a brag file. Does anybody have a brag file? All of you need a brag file. I don't care if this is a drawer. I don't care if this is really a file or a bag. I don't care what it is, but this is the place where you keep those great emails, you keep wonderful cards, you keep the awards that you've gotten. Better yet, keep the nomination form, because sometimes, let's face it, the nomination forms are a lot sweeter than the awards. I want you to put all of that in a file. I want you to start now, because I can tell you, 20 years later, keep building into that file, and when you're having a day and you're just at your wit's end, and you don't think you're making a difference, or you're a little down on yourself about something, I want you to get in that file and pull things out. Put a date on them too, maybe up in the corner. And I want you to pull those out because you're going to realize that over the years, your actions and your words have made a difference for the people around you. Because sometimes it's easy to forget. Sorry, but just because you're a leader doesn't mean you're good at it. Don't look at anybody around you right now. And it's harsh. This is harsh to hear, but it's so very true. Just because you got a leadership position does not mean you're the best person to be leading. So I want you to ask yourself, are you the kind of leader that you want to follow? Are you proud of who you are and what you're doing? If you say things with confidence, people will believe you. Do you know what I mean by this? So a few years ago, we had this really cool experience. It's called Dinner in the Sky. Has anybody ever heard of Dinner in the Sky? Have you done it? You've heard of it. Anybody else heard of it? Really cool thing. It's around the world, and this crane lifts you up. This is a picture at the dinner table. You have 20 of your closest friends go up with you. You're way up in the sky. You have an entertainer with you. You have a chef with you, and you have a bartender with you. How bad can this be? For 2 hours. Do you know how insane this is to do? Neither do I, because I haven't done it. But when I tell you I've done it with confidence, you think I'm telling you the truth. The same thing happens in your organizations. You are a leader and people look to you, and when you say something with confidence, they think you're telling them the truth. So tell the truth. I was telling my husband I was going to say this, and he said, are you telling them that they can lie? I said, no, I'm not telling them they can lie. What I'm telling you is people believe what you're telling them. So I want you to use caution. I always want you to use the truth. Either be a part of the solution or stop complaining. Well, I wasn't really clapping, but that's good. It's a good one. It's a good one. It's that simple. Either be a part of the solution or stop complaining about it. I don't care if that means you've gained some weight, that you're in a bad romantic relationship, that you don't like the class that you're in, or something's wrong with your organization. You either step up and you be a part of the solution or stop complaining about it. Don't be a part of the problem. I think I just heard an amen. You don't have to be friends with everyone. You don't have to be friends with everyone in your organization or that you work with or in your life. Oh no. But positive relationships are important. And that's up to you. I mean, if you want to hang around with a bunch of negative people, and that's who you want to surround yourself with, and that's how you want to fill in the gaps, go for it, but don't complain about it later. The things that you do now, the decisions you make, the person you are, will follow you forever. I'm going to say it again. The decisions you do, the things you do now, the decisions you make, and the person you are will follow you forever. I know you think I'm lying, and I'm not. The reality is, things will be with you 20, 40, 60 years down the road. So make smart decisions and be nice to people. It's okay to have emotions. It's a great book called Tuesdays with Morrie. Anybody know it? Changed my life. I mean, it's a fantastic, and I love whenever I talk about Tuesdays with Morrie, people who've read it, you can tell it got them. Did you like it? It gets you, doesn't it? Mitch Albom, if you don't know who he is, he's a sports writer. I think that might be an old picture of Mitch. Morrie is on the right, and Morrie was a professor of Mitch's. They reconnected after a number of years. This is a true story. And Morrie was living, kind of dying at this point, of ALS. And so Morrie and Mitch spent countless hours together, and Morrie gave him advice on life. And they just talked, and they rekindled this relationship and this friendship. And lots of advice packed into this book. But one of my favorites is, it's about emotions. And it's about the fact that you're to embrace the emotions that you have and let them back out. So does anybody understand when I say when you're really sad and you fight the sadness off? Just by kind of a nod, you know what I mean? You just don't want to be sad, like that lump in your throat crying, you don't want to cry. Or you're really, really happy, but you're so afraid to be happy because you're afraid of what's going to happen next. What Morrie tells us to do is take that in. Take it in from the tip of your head to the tip of your toes. Let yourself feel that emotion. So if you're sad, just be really sad. If you're really happy, be happy. And then at some point, you have to let it back out, and you have to open yourself up for the next emotion to come along. Accept that relationships change. They just change. I know a lot of you, when I say that, are thinking about romantic relationships. It's okay. Those are relationships. They do change. But so do the relationships with your family members, with the people in your organizations, with the people you work with the people you live with your neighbors, with the people at your table. And what I want you to do is I want you to accept when it's time for those to change. We all know what it's like to hold on to a relationship for too long, and it's not healthy for anybody. There's a place and a time for each relationship we have. And so accept that relationships change. Show people your intelligence. You're a smart group, right? Oh, for crying out loud. Isn't the joke, is this thing on? I don't even know where it is. You're a smart group, right? Yeah. All right. Imagine right now, we're in this room, and a gorgeous woman, I mean, drop-dead gorgeous woman, you know, the kind the rest of us want to hate, walks in the door. And she walks in and she screams, "I am more beautiful than all of you." What happens to her? Not physical, you're not going to she gets ugly. You know what I mean? The most beautiful person in the room can get ugly really fast by the way she acts, particularly if she's going to brag about her good looks. The same thing happens with intelligence. You do not need to tell people you're intelligent. Now, I kind of lured you in because you were really good the first time. You didn't tell me. But you don't have to tell people you're intelligent. They're going to know by the way you act. They're going to know by your actions, by your words, by the person that you are. Leave every situation gracefully. Quite honestly, this might be my favorite one. So here's the reality about this. You will never regret leaving a situation gracefully. It's so easy. Now, if we were friends and you came to me and you said, "I just had this really uncomfortable conversation with somebody," I'm going to ask you, how did you leave it? And at that moment, you probably don't care. You're emotional about it. You're absorbing your emotions, and you probably don't care. But I want to know how you left it, because if you didn't leave it gracefully, you're going to regret it later. Somehow, some way, those situations that we do not leave gracefully come back to haunt us years later. Whether it's in your heart, it's in your brain, it's in a boardroom when you walk in and realize you have to be on the same board of directors as somebody, or you have kids down the road and your kids are in the same kindergarten class, or it's that here's my test. Can you pass them in the bread aisle at the grocery store and say hello? Look them in the eyes and say hello and feel good about seeing them. If you can't do that, you didn't leave it gracefully. And so I promise you, again, you will never regret leaving a situation gracefully. All right, we're going to do a quick review. Always come up with a resolution. Use your resources. Keep a brag file. Just because you're a leader doesn't mean you're good at it. If you say things with confidence, people will believe you. Either be a part of the solution or stop complaining. You don't have to be friends with everyone. The things you do now will follow you forever. It's okay to have emotions. Accept that relationships change. Show people your intelligence and leave every situation gracefully. The last one I have for you is embrace the imbalance. We're all taught, and I think this is true for men too. I know as a woman, we women are taught balance in everything we do. Balance your meals, balance your workouts, balance your friends, balance your family, balance your blah, 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 blah. You can't balance everything. I can tell you there are days when I am a really great wife, but I'm not very good at work. Or there are times when I'm brilliant in a meeting, but I'm not a very good friend. And if I try to force myself to balance everything, all I'm doing is setting myself up for failure. I don't want you to put that pressure on yourself. Let's kind of change the culture of the way we think. Let's just be where we are and be great at that very moment. I want you to embrace the imbalance. So you may ask yourself, why in the world do I have to listen to anything that this woman has had to say? And it's because I'm a mom, and because I said so. So love, Mom.